For those brother only, unfortunately, if I get to Big Brother, I get to Big Brother, but that's not what's on my mind. It has not been what's on my mind since yesterday. I'm going to start it off like this. This is some real talk. I used to wonder, especially early on in my career, I would question myself because I'm like, hey, I'm a nice person, conflict averse. I generally, from my whole life, have gotten along with most people. The people that you ever find in my life that have not gotten along with me, it's been because I had something they wanted, I'm able to do something that they can't do, or it's just they see something in me that they don't have. That's how I feel. Like for an example, in my field of in the mental health field, shout out to all those people who spent all those years. They go through the system, they learn all the different types of therapies, they do their internship hours, they have to do whatever they have to do. They have to take a test, they have to get their master's degree. It's a lot of work, and I respect anybody who is able to go through that system. I do always go back and forth myself. Like, is this something that I'm willing to do one day? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe time is slipping by. I had my physical therapy session this morning, and something that I said to the physical therapist is that one thing about me is that I am an expert with people. There's people in my field who know everything, and I'm saying that a little bit sarcastically because nobody knows everything. But when I mean by they know everything is they have an answer to everything. Like for instance, if you give them a set of variables about your life, if you say when this happens I react like this, I can't explain why when I'm in this scenario these are the things that are going on in my brain. I don't get why when I am in a relationship I do X, Y, and Z thing, right? Those people will be able to say, oh, that's disassociation. That's classic BPD. Uh, oh yeah, that's what somebody with borderline personality disorder would do. Oh, well, I think that you probably were misdiagnosed. Yeah, I respect the person. I mean, I see the knife in their hand. They're like, Mark, I want to stab you in the chest. I just want to let you know, I don't like you. That's fine. I appreciate the fact that you let me know that you're coming. Now, the person who doesn't walk up to me with knife in hand, holds the knife behind their back, and says, "Good morning. I'm so happy to see you." I don't respect that snake. So there is such a person, a snake, in my current place of employment, and this person has never confronted me about anything. Anything that I've ever heard negatively that this person has said about me is third party. And as somebody says to me, I'm probably going to butcher the way that it has name and address nor stamp on it. It is not addressed to me. And I've tried to live that way because it's true. It's a good way to live. Like if you didn't say it to me, if you don't have the balls to say it to me, then why am I going to acknowledge you? As if why am I going to let you get in my headspace or whatever? But yesterday, this known hater, I did something that I consider really good for my company. Not just that I can, it was really good. I was not thanked for it in any way. I was not acknowledged for it in any kind of a way, but I think it was important it was something I didn't have to do. I didn't get any credit for it, nothing, right? So, um, a person was coming in that I networked with and decided to invite them to come to my job, speak to the people at the job, and I unfortunately had to, when they came in, my thing was like, I always get in trouble if I don't go through all the channels. So the channels that I wanted to bring that person to, the people, I won't even say the channels, the people in supervision that I wanted to bring that person to before they spoke to the clients, um, they were unavailable. So I said, okay, I have to bring this person to the hater. I didn't want to, but I was like, I would rather do that than to just walk them into the building like I'm the boss. Even though to me it's not that big of a deal if I walk them in, but everything I do is a big deal to some people. So I try my best to make the least waves because I try to hold my waves to a place where I really need them, right? So I give an introduction. The person who I brought into the building gives me some big compliments. Like, Mark is a really good guy. Y'all are lucky to have him as an employee. He's helped me with X, Y, and Z, and grateful for him, whatever that person said. The response was, oh, that's nice that you've had that experience. I wish that we experienced that here. Now, I addressed this after said person left, and I told her that was a joke. Here's the thing with me and jokes. I've said this on here before. I've said this on my live before. You might see people on my live, as an example, as a perfect example. You might see some people on my live that say things to me that I'm not blocking them. I don't block them. I look at them. I might not even necessarily like what they're saying. I'm like, I don't really like that one, but let's just skip right over that one. But there's a reason for that because we have some kind of a rapport where you can tell me jokes, and I can tell you jokes back. We have a rapport. When somebody you don't like comes around you and starts telling jokes, even if it was supposed to be a joke, if somebody who you don't like and don't have a rapport with comes and tells you a joke, it's not a joke. And to me, a joke between two people at the expense of person two that the second person doesn't think is funny is not a joke. And not only is it not a joke, your intent. I always consider intent. There could be somebody who fully made a joke that I just thought was inappropriate. I didn't like the joke. It could be a friend, like a friend who jokes around with me back and forth all the time. They hit a trigger point or something. They say something that I consider too much, or that one just wasn't the one, right? Um, but I give them some rope because I'm like, they just didn't know that this was actually a sensitive place to hit. They just didn't understand that, right? Um, but yeah, somebody that you don't like, somebody that is your enemy, somebody never has good intent for you. I'm not gonna believe, number one, that it's a joke. It wasn't a joke. It was clearly shade. Even the person that this person said it in front of spoke to me afterwards and was like, that dude is shady. You know what I mean? So, walks like a duck, quacks like a duck. It's a duck. But here's the thing: here's the thing that I have learned that I didn't really understand early on. I've had people all my life with that make more money than me, that have much more educational background than me. There's so many things. If you look at their life on a surface level, and it's like, let's compare his life or her life to Mark's life, and you just were looking at the surface only, right? You would be like, what do they have? What does he have that they don't have that would make them be obsessed with him like that and hate on him like that? And I remember I asked the same question probably 10, 11 years ago to my friend at the gym. And my friend at the gym said the same thing that I said at the beginning of this live. They said to me, there's certain things that you have innately that people can't acquire. She was like, you can acquire a master's degree, a doctorate. You can acquire a higher position. You can advance yourself and make more money. You can make different career moves. You can upgrade your car. You can get a new watch. You can move to a nice house in a nice neighborhood. Like all these things that these people have that you don't have, you can work towards getting those things, and you can get those things in your life. The things that you have, there's no amount of work that makes people be able to get those things. And I was like, ooh, I never thought of it that way. That's super profound. Like in that particular setting, it was a guy who used to tell me all this stuff about how much money he makes. He would tell me, he was a personal trainer, so he would tell me like, I'm envious of his body. I'm envious of all the ladies that he hooks up with, and this and that and other. And it wasn't like a rivalry. It wasn't like I was saying something to him and he was saying something back to me. The reason why he was saying that to me was because some of these ladies who he had hooked up with and discarded, you know, ended up being my friends, and he didn't like seeing them around me. So as a way to chop me down, he would be like, I've gotten with this one and that one already, and I'm like, that doesn't make that doesn't make a difference to me, because I can talk to people without that being my goal. And then the money that you make every month, and the book that you wrote, the doctorate that you have, why are you so insecure that you got to tell me all that? So I'm almost where I'm supposed to be. I say all that to say that I know that this guy in this place feels a similar insecurity being around me. He makes more money than me, higher position than me, went to school and higher educational background than me, all that stuff. So yet looks at me like, this guy walks into the building and everybody likes him and nobody likes me. Doesn't matter how much money I make. Doesn't matter what degree I have, my dissertation, my certification, all that stuff. You'll never be me. And so what do people do when they wish that they could be you, but they could never be you? They try to make you be a different you. They try to chop you down to change how you are, to make you be a different version of you that is more parallel to the best version of themselves that they could ever dream of being. Because I recognize this, I'm not going to say that it's easy for me all the time. obviously, look at me. I'm a little bit, I'm a little bit unhappy right now. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not looking forward to walking into my work right now. But being able to recognize the why behind why people do this BS, it does help. It definitely does help. Because in past times, I would have just quit, but ready to walk in the battlefield knowing that the things that the people are battling with me for, they're flat out just freaking unequipped. Because they will never have what I have and they'll never be who I am. And with that said, thanks for joining my therapy session. Today's Wednesday, so we're going to talk some Big Brother later. Like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell.